Come out of the box. Get yourself out the box. Get yourself out the box.
Hello, YouTube. Cheers and welcome to the basement. My name is Bruce Lively.
Once again, it's D-Boy Slim.
The basement is the first daily hip hop debate show. We take one topic a week and debate a different question about that topic every day. Check it out. This is the first show in 2017. You know what I mean? The new year is here.
Indeed.
Yeah, we're gonna do it big. So in just a minute, you're gonna see a little video I made about my holiday vacation in Jamaica. Don't forget to go and watch the live uploads I made all while I was there. I think it's like 4 or 5 of them. Just go to our channel, check it out. You'll see all my live YouTubes. But I'm going to show you this video that we made. Just a little something to say we brought you with us. You understand? Now, this week, we're going to be touching on the most classic debates in hip-hop history. You know, East Coast versus West Coast, Jay-Z versus Nas, Death Row versus Aftermath. You know what I'm saying? All of that. And we're tackling some of the most heavily contested rivalries in hip-hop history.
Let's bring it back.
You know what I mean? And these have fueled some of the most heated debates. And we only got 4 days to do it. So, with that being said, let go. All right, we're going to start this off with the video. I really wanted to let you guys know how much we love the support that you've been giving us. But check it out. I got a video of my vacation in Jamaica. I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday season. Check out how mine went. You're not going to find much hip-hop here, but you will find good fun, good times, everything that embodies the basement show. I told you I was taking you guys with me to Jamaica, right? Check it out. Let's see if we can get a picture of the mountains back there so you can see how beautiful it is here in Jamaica. Let me see. There it is. You guys see those mountains back there? I wish I could show you how it smells through the phone, but I can't. I can only tell you that it's delicious. Everybody's cooking out there, and it seems like all the smoke and the aroma is coming right to my window. Jamaica. So we made it. We're looking down on the city of Kingston. Those are all those lights you see. DJs screaming over big speakers. Bass bumping everywhere. Believe it or not, it's been this loud every night, not just Christmas night. Out here, looking over the city of Kingston, they don't play. Every night is a party. And we're in the city. We're not in the resorts. We're in the city. We just happen to be on top of a mountain right now. And you could still hear everything. I love this place. The basement. The basement. The basement.
Richard, Ray, everything. Oh God. Yeah, man, take off the mic.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We're back. We're going to get straight to it. I hope you enjoyed that video. And like I said, man, we just appreciate everything y'all do. Time for the debate. East versus West. Classic debate. Hit it off.
East Coast versus West Coast. Well, as somebody born and raised on the East Coast, I took the liberty of doing my homework before I came and spoke to the people.
Thought you was going off the dome, baby.
And a lot of it will be off the head. Everybody needs footnotes. But yeah, I think today I'm gonna demonstrate and speak upon why the East Coast, one, has had the biggest influence on the culture, and why they've had the most artists and been the driving force in the culture from the get-go. And with that, let's get right into it. We could start it off in Queens, where you had artists such as LL Cool J, Run DMC, the first hip-hop group to go platinum, the first hip-hop group to go gold. LL Cool J, who, to my knowledge, was kind of like the first solo artist to break through and like I said, transcend hip-hop as far as going on to do the acting and movies and so on. And that's, even to this day, he's on a primetime show on television. And all of it started because of hip-hop. The female MCs is something that is almost non-existent on the West Coast. Whereas on the East Coast, you've had legends. And once again, artists that have transcended hip-hop. When you start to talk about someone like Queen Latifah, who's a household name in entertainment in Hollywood now, all come from hip-hop and the skills that she had and possessed at one time on the microphone. Lauryn Hill, critically acclaimed, one of the best albums of all time, period. Not to mention Lil Kim and Foxy, who both had platinum albums during the 90s. Nicki Minaj, definitely revered as the number one, not only selling, but the number one female MC and artist in the game right now and maybe of all time. So, like I said, I'm gonna let my man Bruce holler, but yeah, it's pretty simple when you really start to look at it with the East Coast have done. And that's just New York. I didn't even get into Jersey, Philly, and none of that. Like, that's all the East Coast.
Goes like this. Everybody who knows hip-hop would be crazy to say hip hop did not originate in New York. Hip hop, New York.
That's a fact.
The first. The first. I'm only here to say this. There's a difference between the first and the best. You guys remember a song called I Can't Get No Sad. You know who sang that?
No.
Aretha Franklin. But she didn't originate that song. That song was written 2-3 years earlier by the Rolling Stones. And it was cool. It was alright. But Aretha Franklin built on the platform, built on what was made by someone earlier and made it better. I say all that to say, I'm not taking nothing away from New York and their stamp in hip hop. They were the originators. But I find it funny that California, is known as the most progressive state in the union. Progress. And I think one of the best ways to illustrate that is the music that they came out with. The singing, the Warren G's, the old school funk style. After a time when the boom bap was it. They were progressive. So don't let anybody tell you that because this one was the first means they're the best. What they did in Cali was they made it okay for for music, hip hop music, to not have to sound like New York to be good.
I never hear an argument from me in saying that there wasn't quality MCs that came from the West Coast, or there wasn't quality music that came out the West Coast. And like I said, when we speak of the West Coast, you're only speaking of one state, and this is part of my point and why the East Coast has to be better, because there have been more successful MCs that have come from the East Coast.
I wouldn't say more
than the West Coast. That's a fact.
Well, wait a minute.
Because you're only talking about California.
No, hold on. But there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that.
The reason being, we had a show about why.
Yeah, but there's a reason for that.
So the fact that we only have heard MCs from California to represent the West Coast, to me says that California has that much of a stranglehold on the culture, and they bring out the hottest MCs, which I think that's probably the case. Or there are not too many MCs that even get busy or even hot enough to mention from those other surrounding states and cities that's on the West
The
Coast.
reason why, what I'm trying to get at, the reason why it's only Cali that you hear them from is because Cali takes up the size of 3 or 4 different states. That's why. So when you say the West Coast, it just so happens to take up 3/4 of the West Coast. It's gigantic. So that's why you hear them from Cali. So don't get it misconstrued that, well, it's just from one state, so nobody else is good. It just so happens to be that state takes up 3/4 of the West Coast. So that's what you're gonna hear. That's an easy. What you got next?
Neither here nor there. But like I was saying, in California, when you could just talk about California as far as the West Coast, but in that, you still don't have the dominant, like I said, a driving force in the culture like the East Coast. And for example, let me finish my point. For example, there's one project, one neighborhood in New York City, Queensbridge Projects, that has probably brought out more MCs than cities in California, than a lot of different cities in California, and still continue to this day. And so, like I said, and at that have legendary artists such as Nas, Mobb Deep, going back to producers like Marley Marl, Roxanne Shante, and the list goes, Nature, Coore Mega, like the list goes on and on. Like, there's no one neighborhood in Los Angeles that spawned that many MCs and artists out. Now, granted, I understand Queensbridge Projects is the biggest projects in America, but
this is what I'm saying. In comparison to just like why Cali does what it does for the West Coast is because it's the biggest state. So in the biggest projects, you also expect to find more rappers that come from there because they're the biggest projects. They take up more square miles and have more people. I understand that, and that comes from being first. That comes from being first. But as far as being progressive, what I'm going to say is we're on the same page. We're on the same page because all the classics that come out of New York, there's just as many classics. When you talk about Souls of Mischief, Warren G, The Far Side, who were the first to use the real instruments in hip-hop, like the Roots, but just so happened that they came out a year before. When you talk about, when you mention LL Cool J and his prowess on the TV camera, let's not forget that Ice Cube turned from somebody on the TV camera to somebody behind the TV camera. What I'm saying was all things are equal. Every time you come up with a classic, I can name a classic, a Cypress Hill, a Eazy-E, a Game, a Snoop Dogg, a Too Short, that talked about different things. But the progressiveness, all things being the same, what Cali has was when they took the origin of hip-hop from New York and turned it into a progressive art using the singing, using the Zapp and Roger styling, using introducing the gang culture and not the first to do street rap, but solidifying the gang culture, understanding Crip Walk, right? Understanding the Blood Nations. They were progressive in the music that New York started. And so everything else would be equal, because every time you come up with one of those, I have something else that says the same thing that,
I could agree
they
with
did.
that. But where I say that the East Coast and it being the driving force in the culture, and also when you speak about something being progressive, like the East Coast is inevitably, we seen our first moguls come from the East Coast. Not white moguls, not the Jimmy Iovine's but the Russell Simmons. Now, we know that what Suge Knight did in the early 90s or whatever have you, and what Dr. Dre ended up doing.
Aftermath.
But, like I said,
Death Row.
There was already a Russell Simmons. And like I said, when you speak on the East Coast, you have to speak on how the music transcended how the artist transcended from the music to fashion and acting and inevitably influencing the world. Like when you speak about the Rockefeller movement and Rockaway doing over 100 million, these guys are moguls right now. The Bad Boy, from Biggie and Craig Mack to Bad Boy having Ciroc and Sean John clothing is worldwide. Like, I'm not sure, that is equivalent to the West Coast. You have Dr. Dre's, but like I said...
No, well, I mean, I feel you. It was just a different style. But I remember when Dickies became big. I remember when niggas was flashing rags all over the East Coast that had no gangs. Because it also influenced the same... Every time you say it, I'm going to give you the same influence that they had. The rags, the Dickies, Converse... When hip-hop niggas was wearing Adidas, we're talking in the 80s, Converse came as a direct result of West Coast hip-hop culture, West Coast gangster culture. When you talk about the people with the button-downs, the Chicos and their style that they used to use, ended up filtering right over. So it's the same thing. It just came afterwards. But I asked this question. With all being the same, could we have had a Southern movement like we have if it wasn't for the West Coast? If it wasn't for the West Coast hip-hop making progressive hip-hop music that didn't sound like boom bap anymore, do you think we would have had the Southern explosion like we did? I don't think so. If it wasn't for a DJ Quick and his extreme West Coast accent, and before hip-hop had to sound like New York accent, because that's all we knew. That's understandable. That's all we knew. But as the West Coast started to filter in with their greats and their platinum sales,
let me tell you where I got you. Pause. You say the music.
Would we have had a Southern revolution like we did?
You say the music,
I don't think so.
You say the music was progressive on the West Coast, but what you're not mentioning is that the MCing wasn't. You had a lot of bandwagon rapping, a lot of artificial gangsters, a lot of flash, I'm a gangster rapper, whatever, and you was conscious yesterday.
Whoa.
So, when you say that the music was progressive, what I want to touch on is the fact that had it not been for dudes like Fat Joe, KRS-One, Gangstar, Chubb Rock, AZ, you know, Rakim, Cool G Rap, The Roots. Had it not been for dudes like Big L, Big Pun, then the MCing of someone like a Eminem, or in order for Aftermath to be where it's at today, or an Outkast, like you want to give credit to the West Coast for, I guess, somehow transforming the South into what it is, but you know,
I'm just saying it was a pedestal into progressive hip hop music. It had to take it out that stage MCs where it was.
Such as Andre 3000, I'm sure he would give credit to a KRS-One and Rakim before you hear him give credit to MC8 or DJ Quick. So whereas you may say the music, like I said, the MCing is what was always progressive on the East Coast.
Well, they started it. Afterwards, there's a dude named.
And at its height, they did it the best.
There's a dude
which
named.
Is my point.
Well, there's a dude named Paris that came out same time, early 90s.
Right.
Paris came out with The Devil Made Me Do It. The whole album, basically was on Black Revolutionary, and
guess what?
In a way, that wasn't being done. He was talking about clapping back at the cops. He was talking about the Black Panther movement.
Chuck D. Ben said it. Do your homework. They thought Professor Griff was crazy to this day. Do your homework.
Chuck D did say it.
Yeah,
Chuck D
I know
did
he
say
said
it.
That's a fact. That's a fact. He got that style that you talking about, that revolutionary style. That's something spawned from Public Enemy. Listen to the name, Public Enemy. You understand? So, like I said, the East Coast has always been the driving force, and the coast. Some MCs,
Mac
that
Moore.
was progressive.
Mac Moore was the MC was nice.
Mac Moore was crazy nice.
And so now we're even going to today.
But like I said, when you say Mac Moore, I can say AZ, which was an undercover
NWA is considered, and I think I have it written here. Let me show it. Yeah, widely considered one of the greatest and most influential groups in the history of hip hop music. Okay.
These dudes was
Cypress Hill was the very first.
It was a time,
the very first to make a platform
when your pen game had to be. It was a time when your pen game had to be nice, and that is what I'm talking about as far as progressive.
Yeah, and I'm telling you that the pen game was nice.
Mac Moore had albums, and then what happened to him? Did he continue to progress or not?
He was a part of the progression of the West Coast. I'm giving you other names, and you refuse to let it go.
No, I'm listening.
You know, when you're talking about the Far Side, that was progressive. Far Side was the first to take actual instruments again and make what we knew as hip hop coming out of New York, and instead of sampling, which was the backbone of hip hop, they were the first to take it and use actual music.
My friend.
Before the Roots, they did that. Remember that. Remember that.
That's my man. Hey, you
I know what you're about to say. We know what it is. We know what it is. Before the Roots was the Far Side. And I would not be surprised if they got a lot of what they did, or even the idea, from the Far Side. Because I've actually heard Questlove mention them many times in admiration. I mean, the amount of class, when you say Cypress Hill, that's progressive. People was talking about weed, but nobody made it their platform. Don't say Redman yet. Let me finish. Cypress Hill made a platform, album after album, to talk about Want to Get High, Temples of Boom, Stoned is the Way of the Walk, and took it to a spiritual level. The way that we see weed today. I would say that they were so far ahead of their time. I remember when Redman talked about splitting the blunt down the back and all this type of stuff, but it wasn't the same level that these guys are on, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. You got to know it.
What level?
The level of taking...
Devil? Were you the devil worshipping?
Wait, what? What?
What level? What level you talking about? Because that's all Redman spoke about, is getting high. Smoking, matter of fact.
They talked about the legalizing it. They talked about the spiritual nature of it. Like, they made a statement about getting high, not just about getting high.
Redman wants to jam for you.
I can't talk to this guy. This is why we can't have conversations.
I'm telling you, man. You better go check Redman's early joint, man.
And this is going long, and I knew it would go long. We're going to keep it going because I just have a few more things to say. Progressives
progressive.
Progressives.
You want to know progressive Wu-Tang when they didn't even want to show you their face. They just want you to hear their lyrics. Remember that? That's called
I mean,
progressive.
they were good rhymers. I don't know how progressive that was. They was on the style of New York hip hop since the day. Progressive is when you actually have
Y'all remember
lyrics that change an entire population.
That's Wu-Tang.
Lyrics?
That's Wu-Tang.
Nah, that's NWA. Ice-T Colors brought the gang
Ice-T
culture.
wasn't a part of NWA.
No, I just said NWA. I'm going to Ice-T. Ice-T Colors was the first to bring out the problem that we have.
You know he's from New Jersey, right?
I know he rapped from LA.
I ain't gonna,
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Michael Jordan was born in New York. Yeah, so he was Chicago Bulls. What are you talking about?
Yo, you do know he's from New Jersey, right?
He rapped from LA. And he represented LA. And Colors was about LA.
He do.
You know what I mean? He just want to do that all day. See, that's why you got to be careful, man, because they'll fool you, people. Get your knowledge up. And it's not much more to be said. I think that my point, I'm going to stand on the point that everything that New York has, Cali has, the classics they have, the number of people they have, the platinum sales, Tupac with 11, Cypress Hill with 5, DJ Quick even had one, E40 had one, Eazy-E had one on his own, The Game, NWA, Snoop Dogg, the Too Short, let's not forget his 6 platinum albums. Everything that you guys had on that side, I believe, was also had on the left side. But the difference is the progressive nature is actually what allowed the rest of the stage, the rest of America to say, you know what? We don't have to sound like this in order to get on. And I respect Cali for that, and I respect the West Coast music, hip-hop for that. Going in the progressive vein, look at the new progressives coming out of Cali. Kid Ink, Hobson and that whole crew over there. You might find it weird or crazy, but it's progressive is what it is. It's a change in the hip hop. Schoolboy Q, you know what I'm saying? His collard greens, this is progressive. You know what I mean? Earl Sweatshirt, the funny raps. I also believe Nipsey Hussle was so progressive that the new Wu-Tang album that sold for $1 million to what's his face?
Martin
Shkreli. Boo, yeah. Martin Shkreli. That idea was started by Nipsey Hussle. He started selling his albums for $100 a pop. That's such a progressive business idea in music. I've never heard anything before that.
Now, you know what was progressive? When Wu-Tang came out with Wu-Wid. And everybody from Russell Simmons to Dame Dash followed suit with Sean John rocking with, and even 50 Cent getting a piece of G Unit. That's progressive. Let me tell you, let me finish it off with this. Let's get back to the conversation. You changed it to progressive. The conversation wasn't progressive. It was simply who was the best straight up. I gave you different examples as to why the East Coast was the best, as far as the driving culture, the lyrical prowess that most of the MCs had from the East Coast. Let's get back to it. Your number one MC, which is revered on most people's lists, I don't care, East Coast, West Coast, down South, Midwest, Jay-Z. East Coast.
Tupac.
Tupac was born in New York. But, go on. We could give you that. Tupac, and then what? You gonna forget about KRS and Rakim? I mean, let's just be honest.
You gonna forget about Snoop Dogg?
You go down the list. And he's where?
Forget about Too Short. Where's Snoop Dogg? He is a classic. But go ahead. I want you to do your finalizing point, because I've already mentioned Snoop Dogg and Too Short.
Like you said, when you say Pac
and Souls of Mischief,
I could easily say Biggie. You start saying Souls of Mischief, that's when I start to say MOP. You had, like I said, Chubb Rock. You had Moneyball's Players. You had the Mob Staff, CNN, Capone, and Noriega. Like I said, always been the driving force. Dudes today I see rocking fatigues. Dudes today still rocking it. They bringing it back to the starter hats, starter jackets.
Let's not forget Ab Soul, Spice One,
Fila velour suits, and all of that.
Exhibit, the Lynch Mob. All of this, what I'm saying is, as many as you can come out with, I can come out with the same. That's why I stuck on the progressive. I think we said all the names. I still got more names to say, and I'm sure you do too. This thing goes long. Raz Kaz, Corrupt, Vince Staples. I want to make sure I mention Vince Staples because right now he's one of my favorite. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's another. He's so progressive. He's retro. You know what I mean?
That. And speaking of retro, it's funny because I also wanted to mention them early dudes like Kool Moe Dee. Dudes like that was putting it down back then.
I go to work.
I grew up listening to it.
Yeah. It was in my cassette player.
Dudes was nice, man. Dudes was nice. Like I said, I take nothing from the West Coast because I enjoyed a lot of their music and a lot of their artists over the years myself. But never forgetting and putting things in its proper perspective. You know, not the fact that we started it, but a lot of the quality and the influences even that still live on today within the culture.
Okay.
The East Coast was that, like I said, that driving force.
Okay. Well, like I said, this week is all about classic hip-hop debates. I mean, the most classic. We couldn't finish it today. If we had another hour to go, it wouldn't be finished. It wouldn't be done. It's now time for you to weigh in, right?
Philly, you know, like the Roots, you know, Red Man, like Naughty by Nature.
Oh,
forget about Tretch.
Don't forget about Tretch. Don't forget about Tretch with the machete.
Telling you.
Hey, this is what it is. It's going to be this way all week. We just hope to inform you, give you some names you may not have heard of or names that you forgot so you can have this debate with your peoples and your friends because it's never going to be done. Not on this show, not on any show. We're doing the classic debates. And I think we gave some information, we gave some history that you may not have known. And, you know, truth be told, I don't even want to argue about this, but dancehall really started before hip hop. About 10 years before in the 60s. So, I don't know how you started in New York if you don't mention dancehall. But anyway.
He's drunk.
Matter of fact, we'll take a sip for that. You guys finish it up. Subscribe to the channel. Press like. Do us right. Shout out. Yes, we got a shout out from Musichi, Musichi. And he was saying that he got royalty-free beats. So I guess y'all check that out, man. Check out Musichi. Got royalty-free beats. Unfortunately, and this is a good time to bring this up, everything that you hear on our channel is made by Team Box Cutter. Every music that you hear, from the beginning to the end, all of our artists, is Team Box Cutter music unless it otherwise says that. So we rather use our own music because it's our way of showing what we do. And we selling these beats too. You guys just click on the links below, go to our website and check it out. But Musichi, since we know that you do the same thing and you support the channel, everybody go check him out. You need beats? Check him out as well. Team Box Cutter Beats and Musichi. Next, High Caliber YT. High Caliber YT. You left a couple messages basically on the Drake versus J. Cole thing. And of course, you going with Cole. I believe it was. If it wasn't, you let me know. But at least you said he's going with Cole. Much the classics. I hear you. Everybody's talking about it. You say what you say. High Caliber YT, we thank you. Thank everybody for the comments and for the love. Don't forget to subscribe. Anything else?
Appreciate all the love out there.
Appreciate all the love. Ooh, tomorrow's question. Nas versus Jay-Z. We going to the classic debates. So you know this is coming. Tomorrow, Nas versus Jay-Z. The classic battle. Who won? Who won? Who's the winner? Who's better? However we're going to approach it. And you guys want to stay tuned for this one because it's going to be an epic show.
Till next time.
Peace.